You built a seven-figure brand without influencers, without Amazon. How did you do this? And why do you think you've been so successful?
I'd been in beauty for a long time and I was like, I think I can solve this. If I really put my head down, I can solve this and make something that I would use. People switch from, Olaplex, Orbe, Pureology, Kerastase. They switch over to dip and they cannot believe it works. The conditioner especially will replace more than 12 tubes of Orbe. It'll save you $500 a year in hair care. I'm in my 40s and I know pretty much all of my friends have some sort of thyroid condition or hormonal imbalance. Back to the mission in the beginning is to provide safer products that people are using long term. I want to reduce the things in that cocktail that can mess up your systems. And so the secret weapon of dip is that
Today's guest is Kate Assaraf, founder and CEO of Dip Sustainable Haircare, Forbes columnist, and New Jersey's 2024 Mompreneur of the Year. After facing the emotional and financial fallout of closing her first business, Kate rebuilt from rock bottom and went on to create a seven-figure, plastic-free, salon-quality haircare brand, all without Amazon or influencers. Dip is built on values of integrity, intention, and radical honesty, aiming to heal more than just hair. Kate's story is a powerful example of resilience, conscious entrepreneurship, and what it really means to rebuild in alignment. Enjoy this interview with Kate Assaraf. The clean beauty space is crowded and often confusing. What do you think that most people get wrong about quote unquote clean or sustainable products?
I think the thing that most people get wrong is that clean means something. It's really just a marketing term. And unless it's tethered to a certain set of standards, it's really just a word. You can say eco-friendly too, but it really doesn't mean anything unless you say it's eco-friendly because XYZ. And so clean beauty is really anyone can say it or claim it. There's no set of standards that are, for the United States.
So that's greenwashing, basically.
Well, it's I think it's clever marketing. I wouldn't call it greenwashing because just because something's clean doesn't necessarily mean, it's good for the environment either. But it is just something you can say. It's an unregulated term. Reef safe is also an unregulated term. So you can see that on products, but a lot of times it's not really tethered to anything.
How do you differentiate yourself then? Because wouldn't you say that your products are clean and sustainable?
Yeah, I would say that, but I say they're clean. They're set to Credo's beauty standards, clean beauty standards, which are the strictest that I know of in the United States. And we're also European clean beauty standards. So we use Sephora's European clean beauty standards when we developed them. So those are the two, the strictest in the United States is Credo that I know of, and then also overseas, we wanted to make sure, because people glamorize European beauty and their standards for what they put in their products. And so I wanted people to know, like, we could easily sell this there if we wanted to.
I'm not familiar with these beauty standards. What are some of the criteria?
Well, there's a lot of things like no petrochemicals, no parabens, no sulfates, no, there's a list of maybe, I think it's like 1,200 ingredients that Credo won't allow in beauty products here. And so not all of those were considered when we made the bars, because if you know anyone that's had any kind of, problems that are rooted in thyroid or any kind of endocrine disruption or any of those things that, you want to avoid for your customers, that's something that you take in from day one, like to even day -1 before you even launch. Like you want to make sure that you're putting something out there for families, for women, that lets you sleep at night as a founder.
Why don't we want these ingredients in our products?
Well, dosage matters, right? Of how much of something is in anything. So what we don't want is anything that has a known endocrine disruptor in our products. And
Just
so,
to clarify for the listeners, what's an endocrine disruptor?
well, it's something that um, is known to mess with the hormones in your body. And so, for me personally, I have eaten what I thought was clean and used clean beauty products my whole life, as long as I've known that things were bad, which is probably around 15, 20 years because I've been in beauty for a long time. And still I've ended up with a thyroid condition, which makes me crazy. Like, it's like, how did this happen? Was it, you know, all this time in high school using scented candles? Like, what was it that that got me to this thing? And it, you just can't punish yourself for medical things that happen to you that seem like they could be avoidable. But yeah, it's important to me because you see it all the time. I'm in my 40s and I know pretty much all of my friends have some sort of thyroid condition or hormonal imbalance.
Yeah, and from my experience, you can't really pinpoint it. So when
No.
you when you developed this thyroid issue, were you able to ever determine what it was, or did you just start looking even closer at your diet and lifestyle and trying to be as clean as
Yeah.
possible?
I looked even closer. I'm someone who goes out in the sun, spends, does all the circadian rhythm things. You know, I'm a trail runner. I run in the woods. I spend a lot of time in nature. I eat fruits and vegetables. I try and reduce my meat, all of those things, and still it came for me. But yeah, I have spent a lot of time reevaluating, and you go through those moments of self-blame when things happen, but really it's a cocktail of the world and the environment around you that gets you to that place.
Yeah, I was thinking do you think if you're checking all those boxes, that maybe the only place to look is either genetic, like maybe it's hereditary, or environmental?
Yeah, it's probably both. Um, I think when I say a cocktail, you really have no idea where all the ingredients are coming from, um, and how your genetic tendencies react to any of those things. So, um, but it's crazy to know that I've entered my 40s, and as the rumblings among other women my age is that we all have some sort of condition, um, is off.
Yeah, that's scary to think about.
It's really scary to think about. And like shampoo and conditioner aren't going to save, you know, the world, and they're not going to save your health. But I did think about that stuff very, very deliberately when we were formulating.
You've said that dip is about more than just hair, that it's about integrity and intention. Can you share more about that? Where did that stem from?
Sure. So Dip is mostly sold in zero waste stores. And again, I don't sell the products on Amazon because what I really want, my bigger mission is to get people shopping in store again, where they can ask the person, like I chose zero waste stores and they're refilleries, they go by both names. Those store owners around the country, they vet ingredients and they bring in solutions that get you a step away from plastic. And what I want is to use my company to get people in those stores so they learn that they don't need to buy everything new in plastic. They can actually take what they already own and refill it. And they can also, avoid creating more waste in the world. And of course, I don't think everyone can buy everything at a refillery, but if you could buy like those fast to consume things like hand soap, laundry detergent, dish detergent with ingredients that are better for you, I think that's a win. And back to the mission in the beginning is to provide safer products that people are using long term. I want to reduce the things in that cocktail that can mess up your systems eventually.
We were talking a little bit before we started, and you built a seven-figure brand without influencers, without Amazon. How did you do this? And why do you think you've been so successful?
So I think I did it. I was thinking of sustainability fatigue, right? People are, I think, and what I've just kind of seen the rumblings of, they're frustrated with sustainability. People are tired of buying something that an influencer sold them, or buying something in general that cost more and was marketed as sustainable only to find out that it didn't work as well as what they were using before. And so the secret weapon of dip is that um, people are very surprised that it works well. People switch from, Olaplex, Orbe, Pureology, Kerastase. They switch over to dip and they cannot believe it works. And I obsessed over making it work more than I obsessed over any marketing ingredients, more than I obsessed over any other thing, any other element. So one, I needed it to work for all hair types. And then the second thing was I wanted to make it so big that it still fit in someone's hand, but also lasted so long so you don't have to buy it very often. So the conditioner can last someone around a year, even with your length hair. So for me, the conditioner replaces about $500 in my Orbe habit I used to have. And the shampoo is, that's faster to consume. That's probably 2 to 6 months is the average use of the shampoo bar. But I wanted it to just make, people are so used to sustainability meaning more expensive. And I wanted to kind of turn that on its head.
Full transparency, and in the same realm as integrity, I haven't tried the hair products yet because I haven't finished my old ones. But once I do, I will be on board with trying dip, and I will give my honest opinion. So you'll have to come back to this episode or to my social media and see what I had to say about it. But I will say I've tried the face cleanser, and just like you said, I was afraid to try it because it's so clean. And from my experience with other products, it's like when they don't have any of these long ingredients that you can't pronounce, that maybe your skin doesn't feel as clean after, like it didn't do as much or what it was supposed to
Yeah.
or something. And now, like once I started trying it, I've been using it every single day, and now I'm afraid I'm gonna run out and I'm gonna need to get a couple so that I have them, wherever I go.
Yeah.
How are you able to do that? Every other product I've tried that has been so clean and sustainable and eco-friendly, I feel like it doesn't, I have to follow it up with something else.
Yeah. Well, I think of the customer first and then the eco-friendliness second, because a lot of times when product development happens, they're like, I want to build something to these standards and that is it. But I want to build something that someone will buy more than once, which you don't see a lot in sustainability. People just keep trying different things and eventually just be like, okay, like I'm going to go back to the bottle. I'm going to go back to my old stuff. I wanted to build products that people really liked and that they were like, okay, I'm going to buy this again. And so I think the last time we checked, we have like a 77% return rate, customer return rate, not like people are like trying it, turning it,
Okay.
customer return rate, or,
Important
and
clarification.
yeah, no, our actual return rate, in that realm, last time I checked was 0.006%. So it's
Oh,
way less than 1% of people that try dip return it. It's like we have a full money back guarantee. I don't want your money if you don't love it. But like, it's so amazing to see people get into the sustainable version of shampoo and conditioner or face wash and then stick with it. Because that was the dream. Like it's not about selling to someone once, it's about selling to someone 4 times and having them really make that lifestyle change. That's what I set out to do.
why? I mean, what inspired you? What was the moment like or the day like that you said, I'm gonna make this product and I'm gonna work on it until it works, until everyone loves it? Did it have to do with your health when you experienced the thyroid issues?
No, it had to do with when I was pregnant with my first son in 2014. I read this book called Boys Adrift, and it talks about how to raise a son that becomes a productive member of society. With first time mom, you kind of read all these
Mhm.
sort of things. And one talked about video games. It talked about kids not being in tune with nature anymore and not spending time with their dads doing things like for centuries they hunted. And one of the things they talked about was the introduction of plastics. And the author talked about how he was in the Maryland area, and he talked about how there was runoff from a plastic factory into the Potomac River that was changing the aquatic life so that male fish started to lay eggs.
Mm.
And that is a huge biological change, from plastic runoff. And we don't know exactly, like this was 10 years ago I read this. We don't know exactly the long-term effects of plastic in our bodies, but it's starting to really be studied and really be looked at now. And so that was 2014. And so I tried to reduce my plastic wherever I could. And really I tried every single bar brand that existed at the time, and I was just, I don't know how to say disenchanted with it. Like I was like, I can't, this is not a switch. This is not a switch I can make. I wear my hair every day. And I'm not willing to make that switch to plastic free. And I'd been in beauty for a long time and I was like, I think I can solve this. If I really put my head down, I can solve this and make something that I would use.
Mhm.
That was the goal.
Mhm.
And then,
Did-
oh no, I was going to say and then if I can convince someone like me, who's kind of a little bit of a hair snob, if I can convince myself to make that change long term, I know that there's other me's out there that are just as frustrated.
Right. Like you're so picky that
Yeah.
if it's going to meet your standards, then
Yeah.
surely other people will like it as
That was
well.
the thinking. I was like, there's a bunch of people out there that are happy with the bar options that exist. And, kudos to them. I'm not trying to convert them. They're already going plastic free. I'm trying to convert people that would never, ever touch a bar. They're like, that's not for me. I love my hair too much. And those are the people that are the most surprised by dip. And those are the people that not only buy it for themselves over and over again, but literally buy it for all of the women in their lives.
Yeah, and a great thing about having a bar too is you could throw it in a carry-on. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
have to worry about, needing to check a big bottle of liquid.
Yeah, especially if you're going on a beach vacation. So something about the conditioner is that if you dip it in water and run it down wet hair, it'll instantly detangle your hair after a swim in a pool or the ocean. And so
Wow.
for me on vacation, since I was 11, I've always brought like conditioner to the beach in a bottle. Like I've always brought it. But the problem is that conditioner, when left in the sun and the heat, it separates when it's liquid.
Mhm.
And it gets disgusting and it's like cottage cheesy. You have to shake it up. It's gross. But with the bar, I made sure that it doesn't melt in the sun. I think it can withstand up until like desert temperatures. And yeah, it instantly detangles your hair after surfing or swimming or just playing. And that's like one of those things that any parent with like a little girl with long hair, it's ouchless detangling, but also if you're just like that feeling of coming out of the ocean and your hair's like stuck to the back of your neck and you're just like, ugh, it solves that. And you can just air dry.
Okay, this is life-changing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can I
It's
can't
crazy.
believe I've never even heard of this. I mean, I live 15 minutes from the beach, and my whole life I've thought this is, I either put my head underwater and get my hair wet, which I want to do because I know the
Yeah.
ocean is healing and, I don't want to have to, no, don't get my hair wet. So, but then afterwards you deal with your hair just being a mess and
Yeah.
it just gets frizzy and yeah,
Yeah.
sticks to each other
It's
and
terrible.
tangly. Yeah. I never thought about bringing conditioner. That's genius.
Yeah. Thanks. It's a problem I really needed to solve because when you're women, like the older you get, like the more you start to opt out of fun for like hassle. And something I noticed myself, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna get my hair wet because I just don't want to deal with it. And
Right.
now I never miss the fun. Like I'm always jumping in the ocean. I'm always jumping in the lake. Like I'm doing whatever because I don't have to worry. Like my hair with dip air dries. I have like more of a wavy look than my hair now. But when it air dries, it just air dries so pretty and it really does work for everyone. So even people with type 4 hair, which is black women, they've written to me and they're like, I used to never get my hair wet in the ocean and now I can. And that makes me so happy because it's really not a good solution if it only works for a small amount of people.
Wow. Okay. So this is one bar and it's for every type of hair,
Yeah.
so it could be straight hair, curly hair.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and air dry, like not everyone loves their own air dry, but when I see different air dries, like all these different curl and wave patterns, and it's like a fingerprint. Everyone has their own, and they're so beautiful. Um, and so I love seeing people air dry after using dip. It makes me, as a founder, it just makes me so happy. Like my job is done. Like that person had fun and got to come out and then like not worry about running to a mirror and running home to shower or whatever. They can just leave it in and move on with their day.
Yeah. See, I always thought of when my hair would air dry that the reason why I didn't like how it air dried and it looked so unhealthy was because of coloring or heat damage, things like
Yeah.
that. But I didn't think about the products would make it air dry differently.
Yeah, yeah. The product's like totally, you just leave the conditioner on and comb it through and you're good.
Okay, so don't rinse out the conditioner.
No, it's when you're using it after swim, just leave it in and it'll make it'll kind of give it a little bit of definition. It'll look really pretty.
Okay. I can't
Especially
wait.
yours because you have so much length. It's like
It's so much.
well, air drying with length is great because well, air drying at all different lengths, but with yours, like because if there's any kind of big curl patterns, it kind of softens them because of the weight of your hair. It's going to be really pretty.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing though with the ocean and it's a lot. So it will, okay, this is a perfect solution. I can't wait now. I wish I wish I was going to the beach today. All right. I want to talk about your first business
Yeah.
because this wasn't your first business and you experienced failure with your first one. How did that experience shape who you are today and how you approached it?
Yeah. So my first business was a similar business. It was shampoo and conditioner bars. And, I thought I took a partner and the company was successful. The partnership wasn't. Like that's the long and short of what I can say about it. But I still had that unscratchable itch. Like I wanted to solve this problem. And what I learned from that partnership and dissolving that first business was that it's okay to bank on yourself. It's okay to start something solo. Like I didn't have the confidence the first time to do it by myself. And it's one of my biggest regrets. I should have realized I didn't need a partner. I didn't need to share my dream and I didn't need to everything's learnable. And if it's not learnable, it's hireable. Like you don't have to share, like you don't have to, if you have like a vision and my vision is very specific. I want people to like I'm not going after Sephora or Ulta. I want people to shop in refill stores and surf shops and hair salons and bring money to independent store owners. And that doesn't align with someone who really wants it to be like a huge brand that's sold in a Target like all mass. I really wanted something that made money for independent entrepreneurs all over the country. It's a big I want Main Street to survive. And I want people to have something beyond digital reviews to be able to judge whether a product is for them or not. And so the biggest thing I learned was bank on yourself, even if it's freaking hard. Having to start over and having to start a totally new brand gave me an opportunity to make the formulas better, make the branding better, and also like really almost calcified the mission. Like it made it so strong for me. Like I want people shopping in refilleries. That is how we change. That's how we change plastic consumption on a bigger scale.
You had a clear vision and it didn't align with your partner.
Yeah, we just wanted two different things, and you know, I I felt like I didn't know how to do, things like accounting and things like, just I'm really good at marketing and sales, like, but the other stuff gets cloudy and makes me nervous, like tax stuff, like makes me nervous, like and I
Same.
thought, now I've learned, I when I started this business, I immediately hired a bookkeeper, immediately hired an accountant, I immediately hired those things that made me really nervous to restart. And it ended up being so much better. And I don't have to kind of, bend or feel the pressure of wanting to grow, when I can, live a comfortable, smaller life. Like I don't need to be some big CEO. It's not really what I want because I'm a mother with two children. I want to just have a company that I'm really proud of that creates jobs for people and makes them feel really good.
What happens if and when you do become this huge company?
I don't think I'm gonna be the person that takes it there, to be honest. Like, I love for people to experience the products and try that. That's very different than, landing an Ulta where suddenly you have to build everything to make sure Ulta is happy. You know what I mean? But right now, the only people that I have to make happy are our customers. And that is like a really beautiful place to be as a business owner. Like I love interacting with our customers. I love making sure that they're well taken care of, that they have human customer service, that the reviews are real. That's like a big one, Um, and that, as a company, we want you to not shop on our site. You can if there's no store near you that sells dip, but like we want you to go into that store closest to you and support them and keep the money. Like your money, keep it circulating through your town, through the taxes that your store pays.
Wow, that's really admirable.
Yeah, it just feels right. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we've as businesses have become so detached from their customers via the internet, and I think it's time to kind of rehumanize what being having a business is.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like you've already spoken to this a bit, but for the entrepreneurs that are listening who are either burned out or starting over, what would you say to them?
So the burned out ones, I would say it's really just take a step back. Like really, there's no reason you need to feel burnt out. A lot of people get burned out from social media. Like just post less. I did this experiment where I posted, I was feeling burnt out and I just posted less and did less, and it didn't create a huge um like rift in sales. It gave me my time and my life back. And the other thing I would say is don't be scared to hire people. You can hire freelancers, you can hire full-time people, like you need if you hire someone that's like a multiplier, which is what you should probably hire in the beginning, someone to help you sell your product, someone to help you grow, that's that's a pretty fair move and it's a safe move. Um, and so, as an entrepreneur myself, that's the thing that gives me peace of mind is I've hired people to help me. And that's really it's really great. I really love the people that work for me. And so that's the number one thing I'd say.
What has surprised you the most about your success?
So I think what surprised me the most is it doesn't matter how successful you are. There's always someone that thinks you're not successful enough. And so I find that really strange. I'm really comfortable with our level of revenue and our happy customers and all of those things. But sometimes I'll meet someone and they'll say, "Oh, is it in Sephora?" And I'm like, "No." "Is it in Ulta?" "No." "Is it in on Amazon?" "No." And they're like, "Oh, well, all right, good luck." And it's funny because a lot of brands that are in those channels are actually struggling and you just can't tell. But as a brand, we're growing. I just this year I've hired 3 people. And it's like a really nice, quiet growth. That I don't know, it just feels more real.
Mhm. It's funny how everyone has their own measuring stick to gauge success, and they'll
Yeah.
all use their own measuring stick to gauge everyone else's success. When
Yeah.
what really matters is how you feel. Like, do you feel successful?
Yeah. And I do. I'm able to balance being a mom and being an entrepreneur. I'm able to pay my employees well. I'm able to give them bonuses at Christmas, which is like a big source of pride for me. And I'm able to celebrate our independent store owners. We just took them on a retreat to the Catskills where independent store owners around the country, they're not celebrated. Influencers are celebrated. We don't do that because we don't use influencers. So no, to me, like no one's more influential than the people in towns all across the United States that like sell your product. So we took them on a really silly retreat and it feels like success. It feels because we have a community and we get to swap ideas about sustainability. It's just really it feels really cool actually.
It is really cool. I've never heard a story like this. I've never spoken to someone who's created something like this and yet still is trying to give away some of the success.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I think it used to be like this. Do you know what I mean? I think there used to be a time where success was shared instead of siloed. And now I'm not blaming the internet. The internet is an amazing tool. Like, look, we've connected because of the internet. But like, I think th- capitalism in general has kind of been so distanced from what was intended to be in the beginning, which is like this human to human interaction. Like, if it's very strange to see how much commerce has changed in the past 100 years.
Yeah. Like, let's be successful together.
Yeah. I mean, it really is like, rising tide lifts all ships. It is like that. And some of our retailers, some of our small store owners dotted around the country, because we sell in small stores all over the country, almost in every state. Some of them are selling $30,000 worth of dip a year. Some of them are selling 50, some are selling $75,000 worth. Like dip keeps their doors open and dip pays their rent. And that is like it's a big like badge of honor for me because I know most of the store owners at this point and I interact with them and I'm super proud that they feel that dip is worthy of their shelves in the first place. So it feels really nice to have us all kind of succeed together.
Mhm. Not to get too spiritual, but since we're here, I can't not say that, I feel like in doing that and approaching it that way, it comes back.
I agree. Absolutely, there's no doubt about it that it comes back.
Mhm.
And I am a spiritual in that way. And I think, it's it's not something you can write in a business textbook, you know, but it does feel like the generosity is circular.
Yes, definitely.
Mhm.
And you handpicked these stores that your product is sold from.
Yeah, in the beginning we did. So it's mostly zero waste stores is where we started because that's where I knew where the disenchanted customer was. I know that person is looking for shampoo and conditioner bars and they're looking for a solution that works. And so I started with that avenue and then Modern Salon wrote a really nice piece about dip and we started to land on salon shelves because a lot of hairstylists are realizing like the chemicals that they have been using for decades, are creating health problems now. So they're looking for solutions that are like safe for them and safe for their clients. And then, surf shops is the other one where surf shops are community based, where Dip solves a problem for their customers. Every person that surfs gets brittle hair from being in the ocean, and people look to surf shops for expertise on the best of the best for them.
Can you explain why sourcing, packaging, and where we buy our products matters just as much as what's inside of them?
Sure. Yeah. So, sourcing and packaging, all those things, when you buy dip, you're buying that finished product. But behind that, there's a lot of corners we can cut as a brand that we don't. One of them in particular is ordering huge amounts of things in plastic wrapped pallets. We try and make our orders a little smaller so we can avoid pallets. Of course, we have pallets sometimes, but like for the most part, as a brand, we're trying to order non-palletized goods in the background. And it's also a big reason we don't sell to mass retailers is because they require palletized goods. And if you don't know what that is, if you're a listener that doesn't really know, it's like when you have a big piece of wood and it's just stacked with products and then it's wrapped 7 or 8 times in clear plastic wrap that just gets sliced and thrown away. Or if you're lucky, it turns into like a buddy bench somewhere at some school. But for the most part, that plastic is just made and chucked. And that's a big thing for me. And then another thing about sourcing is ingredients are really tricky because sometimes, you want an ingredient and you find out that the farmers aren't treated well or they use pesticides or there's all sorts of corners being cut behind the scenes. So we try as a brand to look as deeply as we can into those things. And you know, it's it's all part of being part of something bigger than the box you put on a shelf.
What are a few conscious beauty swaps that you would recommend for people to make more mindful choices?
Sure. For me, I like to go in the sun a lot, and so I get that those first few days of going in the sun, that first day on vacation, I turn into a lobster. I just can't. I don't know how to avoid the day one lobster. Um, I always use this product called Dew Mighty, DEWMIGHTY. They have this serum bar. They have one that's called Oasis for body. It's big. It's expensive, but it does exactly what it's supposed to do, which is like hydrates your body and gets rid of that red. So you can put it on after a day of sunburn, and then the next day, like your skin feels like healed. So that is one of my favorite things. Another thing that I really love is this company called Rebrand, and they sell refillable skincare. And the founder of that company is wonderful. Her name's Aubrey, and she makes an amazing moisturizer that I use every day. And like it's just clean and effective. It's very simple, clean, effective, and it's sometimes not all the refill stores carry it, but many of them do. You can just go and get a refill for your first jar. So you don't need to keep
Kate,
buying.
you're amazing. I mean, I ask you for conscious beauty swaps and you literally hand out, check out these other brands that I
Yeah.
have
Oh,
no
I was supposed
affiliation
to.
with. No, no, it's amazing because, other people, they wouldn't want to shine a light on anyone else's products other than their own.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, these other ones are really great and I use them.
Yeah.
And they have nothing to, they're not even connected to you. That's so
Yeah,
amazing.
they're really good. I mean, I want people to explore like what is out there, what they can get that's not in plastic, like the things that are in glass. There's so many amazing brands that are, surviving, right? Because I think there was an explosion of sustainable brands in 2020 during the pandemic, like that it became like a very big sustainability became like a buzzword and you just saw it like slapped on everything. But now we're seeing like a lot of those brands have closed and now we have like the tried and true really great brands are surviving because they're amazing. And I think Rebrand and Do Mighty, those two are really great.
That's fantastic. Okay, I have two closing questions for you, but before I ask them, where would you like to send the listeners? I'm sure at this point they're really wanting to find out, where these stores are, where they can get dip. And you did say they're in most states. Is there a place maybe on your website they can find them?
Yeah, absolutely. So the website is dipalready.com. So DIPALREADY.com. And when you go to our website, you'll see store locator. So you can shop from our website for sure. I'm happy to sell it to you. But if you could discover a cute store in your town or cute salon, to go to the store locator, it'll pull up the one closest to you. And it's just always way cooler to support the entrepreneur that is your neighbor, that you might not have known before.
So cool. Okay. My first question for you is what is your number one health tip? So that could be diet, physical, spiritual, emotional, just the one piece of advice that you would like everyone to know.
For me, it's to move. You got to move every day. I realized, sometimes you go through long stretches where you're not moving that much and you don't even realize that it's affecting you. And then you go back into movement and you're like, "Oh my God, I feel alive again." You know, where I am right now, it feels like it's been raining for 2 months. And I looked at the weather report, there's like 2 more weeks of rain. I'm like, oh, this like messes up my walk. Like I'm putting on my rain gear and I'm going outside. I'm going to go for a walk today. And yeah, just remembering like go outside, get moving. And I love to be in the woods. Like just find your like happy place that's outside. Mine is the woods. I'm obsessed with the way the light shines through the trees when I'm walking around in solitude. And it that always I think is a key component to my own health now.
Yeah, move your body and get in nature. That's so
Yeah.
true. I will feel all sorts of ways and, just off. And then once I move my body, it's like, oh, that's all I needed.
Yeah, it's so crazy, especially just to have the sunshine on your face or just even I don't know, I feel like some of the best healing is the most simple
Yeah.
and the most free. Like,
Yes.
oh, you know.
Yeah. Okay. My last question for you is a more personal question. You will choose a number 1 through 100 and it will correlate to the question.
Okay. I like 27.
How do you maintain balance between ambition and gratitude?
I don't maintain balance. I let gratitude tip heavier and then the rest comes. I just the gratitude I think again, is I get a little woo-woo about that topic, but I do think gratitude is a health hack as well. It sets your day up when you think about what you're thankful for. It sets your day up. You know, I'm grateful for every single person that ever takes a chance on my brand. Um, and I'm grateful for just being alive every day. I think there's something really cool about that. And ambition to me is a little less cool. I'm still ambitious, but the gratitude it's not balanced at all in my book.
Mm, yeah. Oh, I'm so grateful that we got to connect, and
So,
I'm grateful that you came on the podcast. Thank you so much, Kate. And make sure to check out the description. The links will be there, dipalready.com. And thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for having me.